Mike Williams, who now might also be traded. Details, Jets take on Davante's salary and send a conditional third that could become a second to Las Vegas. Here's how the duo has fared historically. It turns out they're awesome together.
Only Montana to race next.
Well, that would be good.
Yeah, in 2024 it wouldn't be.
Well, if Jerry Rice all of a sudden was with Montana's Chiefs, I would say, you know what?
It was only 3 years ago.
Okay, a lot was only 3 years ago. Aaron Rodgers was good 3 years ago. Go ahead.
That's a reaction.
Listen, first of all, once again, Aaron Rodgers proves to be just a totally straight shooter. I was talking about playing golf with Davante, and I have no power around here. Got it, check, check. Glad we got those things squared away. This doesn't move the needle.
What?
I watched the Jets last night, Brew. I know you did too. When the ball is out in under 2 seconds, they can look crisp. They can look sharp. If it's boom, boom, out. Boom, boom, out. But the moment there's a drop, the moment they get behind the sticks, the moment they have a running back not hit a hole and they're in 2nd and 8 and then 3rd and 8, the drives die. Davante's not fixing that. He'll help it marginally, but he's not fixing it. The moment they're in must-pass, pick-up, real yardage situation, they're cooked, which is why they had one drive last night. Real drive, scored a touchdown. They scored 2 touchdowns. One was on a Hail Mary.
Hail Mary, right.
And, Sean McDermott in his infinite wisdom's like, this guy can't deal with a blitz, can't move. What if we send 2 guys at the greatest Hail Mary quarterback of all time? See what happens. I am annoyed by the media's credulousness when it comes to this football team. I was annoyed by, and Dust, if we can run through the headlines, oh my God, Mike Williams was the missing piece.
That was mostly Brew.
Oh, no. Jets signing Mike Williams in major free agency.
It in the Post.
Splash. And it wasn't just the Post. It was our friends at Sports Illustrated. Mike Williams is the best available free agent. By who? People that didn't have Sunday ticket the last few years? No, that next one is the Mike Williams key addition for Win Now Jets. Well, guess what? Mike Williams now is going to be looking for a new home.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Definitely. Mike Williams is off the Jets. He's not officially off the Jets yet, but he's definitively off the Jets. And, Brew, 25 days ago, the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers was telling us, now is when we learn to dominate.
Yeah.
25 days ago. 16 days ago, they lost 10-9 to the Broncos, and they literally blamed it on the rain. They were like, the conditions were tough. 9 days ago, they lost to Minnesota and fired the coach. Yesterday, they lose to the Buffalo Bills, and they snap trade for Davante Adams. They're not good. And they're not a soon-to-be 32-year-old receiver with a gimpy hamstring away from being good. And so, good. I'm glad Aaron gets to finish his career with a friend. But that is what happened here, in my opinion.
They're going to be good. Dismiss all that you just heard.
You can't be serious.
I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. I've told you from the get-go, even when I picked them to win the division, they're not a real contender, because we know what Aaron Rodgers does in championship games, which is wet the bed, all right, even when he won it years ago. But this is a good move. And, Nick, they should be 3-3, if not 4-2.
Based on what?
Based on a field goal kicker being able to make a 32-yarder and a 43-yarder. Last night, they could have won that game had they had a touchdown call back by a controversial call, holding call.
They got a Hail Mary, bro.
And the Hail Mary was, obviously just luck. That's the definition of it, right? But they still were right there with the Bills. The Bills they're right there with the Bills. Yeah. And if they make 2 field goals, there's a good 2. I'm not even saying a 50-yarder, which is what cost them against Denver. He should be able to make a 50-yarder, but a 32-yarder and a 43-yarder. The defense is great.
It's great.
It's number 2 in the league, and it's number 7 in points allowed. So that's a very good defense.
Sure.
And now you add Davante Adams. I'm just saying it's a good move.
So you think they're going to be able to climb out of this and win the division?
I think they got a chance. I think they can make the playoffs, whether they win the division or not. Again, the AFC, we know there's only a couple of really good teams, and then it's open. You put the schedule up. You know the schedule. is very weak going for Pittsburgh winnable. Patriots winnable. Houston, they're going to lose at some point. They haven't been looking awesome. That's a losable game. Arizona is winnable. It won't be easy. Indy, Seattle, Miami, Jacksonville. There's not a world beater left on their schedule.
Exactly.
But they're all,
I'm not saying those are easy wins.
They're all winnable.
When you're just a
middling
solid,
team.
yeah, they're losable. But Aaron Rodgers looked pretty good last night. He almost had his 300-yard game. I know a lot of it was the Hail Mary, but still, he looked all right. Garrett Wilson, things are going to open up for him because he's been double-teamed most of the season. And Davante, how's it insane?
Because
there are a couple of bad missed field goals away from being at least 500.
Because
Tied for
this
first
is
in
what
the division.
the Jets fans told me as well, the kicker thing. So, but we do understand that last night the other team's kicker was just as bad. So
he missed the one
extra point and a field goal.
That's not
so
just as bad.
Last night,
4 points.
Okay, so you're right. You're right. So let's give the Jets 6 more and Buffalo 4 more, and the Bills still win.
And even if the Bills win, the Bills are a playoff team.
The game against
Denver,
the Broncos kicker missed a kick. And then the Jets kicker missed a kick. The Jets fans are doing this thing where it's all field goal kickers' fault, but the other team's field goal kicker still is going to be bad. It's just, I don't know right now how anyone can watch the Jets through 6 weeks and look at a schedule and other than, it's the Patriots game,
short week.
be like, I'd be surprised if they lost.
Well, I didn't say you'd be surprised if they lost. I'm saying a lot of those games are winnable, and I think the Jets are better than a lot of those teams on their schedule.
Okay, it's funny that Nick is calling out Brew for being like, oh, and Jets fans, you're picking and choosing that these games could have won, when you could do the exact same thing for the Chiefs, right? Oh, if the Cincinnati Bengals didn't have their pass interference, then they beat the Chiefs. And oh, if Lamar Jackson just hits the one wide receiver in bounds, they can beat the Chiefs, right? Like we could do this all day as well. So the fact that that you're doing this, that Brew's doing this with the Jets, or that fans do this with the Jets, it actually does make sense. Yes, we can do this for a lot of games, and so a lot of people automatically discount that, and it's always the shoulda, coulda, woulda. But when you're trying to evaluate how good a team is, or how good they can be, trying to figure out how they lost, why they lost, and who they lost against, it matters. It all plays a part, right? You're trying to just paint as clear of a picture as you possibly can. Nick is trying to paint the picture that the Jets are just garbage, that they are just bad team, that getting someone as great as Davante won't do anything, and that they're just bad. And it's like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I'm with Brew. I'm not saying this Jets team is elite, that they're great, that they're going to take over the NFL, right? But it's like, where is that energy against, say, the Dallas Cowboys, honestly, right? The Dallas Cowboys got rolled against the Lions. That's the mark of a terrible team, right? And it was just kind of like, I still think, because he was just on first things first, on the herd, and he said, I think once they get Micah, and they'll have a lot better of a second half of the season, and can still make the playoffs and win the division, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay. But the Jets have looked better in nearly every single game, and they played harder opponents and hung in versus harder opponents, like the 49ers, like the Minnesota Vikings, right? The Broncos, the weather was insane. It was a torrential downpour. I mean, it was absolutely insane. And yes, you're taking away Aaron Rodgers' ability to throw the ball. That is the strength of your team. When you take away your strength of your team, you're going to struggle. That's just a fact. That's just a reality, right? Like, that's not at all controversial, because we know Nick feels that way, because he says that about Lamar Jackson and the Ravens and their run game. They say minimize their run game, and they're not as good as throwing. Does that mean that Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are just trash? Absolutely not. So it just doesn't really make sense or hold up to scrutiny. This trade will of course help the Jets, and I do think there's a lot of good things to look at New York. Again, do I think that the New York Jets are about to put the league on notice and oh my God, here we come? No, I'm not saying that. But to paint the picture that they're just throwaways, that they're just awful, and that every game we've seen is just further proof that they're awful, I disagree with that. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. And again, kudos to the Jets for making one decision and realizing it wasn't the best decision. And now they're trying to move on. And now they're going to get Davante. Like, has this been the smoothest off season and regular season in terms of moves? Like, absolutely not. But I respect that they're trying. That's what I respect about the Jets, honestly, more than anything, is that they're being aggressive, that they are trying. They're trying to make moves. I don't think firing Robert Saleh was the best move, I'll be honest, but I do respect that they're making decisions, right? They demoted Nathaniel Hackett. They got, they elevated, I can't think of his name right now, to be the play caller. Like, I respect all of those things. They're making moves, gutting out and getting Davante. Like, those things do matter. Right? Like they're doing the things that need to be done. And it's funny because we know, for instance, Nick loves LeBron James and getting, Russell Westbrook and some of the moves that LeBron has made. And they were saying that this is going to be amazing and it's going to be great. And it wasn't. And then the Lakers were like, okay, we kind of have to move on. Like, so sometimes you think a decision's going to be good and it ends up not being good. And so then it's what you do next. Right? And so the fact that the Jets are actually just thinking, what do we do next? And are making moves, to me, is what's more encouraging than anything. And I think, of course, adding Davante is going to help with some of those issues that Nick highlighted, because it is going to open up the field for the other receivers. It is going to help support the run game. It's going to help Aaron. It's going to help him get the ball out quicker. Like, all of those things are going to improve. They absolutely positively will. They should also sustain drives better, which then helps the defense not be on the field so much. Like, it's going to help everyone. So to act like adding Davante suddenly won't help makes no sense. One of the big issues that the Kansas City Chiefs have right now is Patrick Mahomes is not very accurate, right? He hasn't been able to take care of the ball. And yet Nick was saying, bring in Davante, right? He wants Davante or Tyreek Hill or Amari Cooper. He was really excited about, and he was kind of talking about, this was weeks ago at this point. Would that help Patrick Mahomes suddenly be more accurate with the ball and not throw the ball straight to defensive players? So the idea of adding a great player and trying to paint the picture that it's not going to help some of the issues of the team and therefore the team's not going to improve, that does not make sense. That does not make it just doesn't add up. It just doesn't make sense. Or at the very least, if it doesn't help some of those issues, it still gives you a bigger punch now that helps you overcome those issues. Like, it's like if the defense was a fundamental problem for the Jets, by getting better offensively, it can help you score more points and again sustain drives, help out the defense more, and so again it helps you overcome those things. So there's no way that adding Davante doesn't make the Jets better, right? To say that is just an absurd claim to make. It just does not make sense. Of course, the Jets will be better. The better question is, how much better will they get? And it's not just marginally. That makes zero sense. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about adding Davante to the New York Jets? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.